This episode of Around the Oval is brought to you by Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage.
Hey, Ohio State fans, Alex Gleitman here, back with another edition of Around the Oval, brought to you by Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage. We are now officially in 2022, and that means the 2021 season is behind us. We are now looking ahead to the 2022 Ohio State season, starting with the offseason. And a big part of the offseason for the Buckeyes is not only recruiting, but recruiting the transfer portal. And Ohio State made a big pickup in the transfer portal on Christmas Day. It was a nice little Christmas surprise for the Ohio State staff. They brought one of their own Ohioans home, former Akron-Hoban star and former Arizona State running back DeaMonte Trayanum. DeaMonte joins us today on the show. Appreciate you coming on. First off, congrats on committing to Ohio State and coming back home. How are you doing?
Thank you, man. I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for this new year. How you doing?
I'm awesome. Same here. Hopefully 2022 is a better one than 2021 and 2020 for everyone. We appreciate you being on the show. Obviously, big pickup for Ohio State. They needed a lot of help in the linebacker room. You played running back your first couple of years at Arizona State, but you're going to come home for Ohio State, play linebacker where they kind of recruited you out of high school. We'll talk about that just in a minute. But going back to your decision back in high school, I mean, you had offers from, a lot of big time schools, including Ohio State, but you chose to kind of do something a little bit different and go to Arizona State. Let's look back at that decision first. What was kind of your thought process when you made that decision to go commit to Herm Edwards and the Sun Devils?
Just like comfortability wise, and then just being a kid from the Midwest, just want to go out west more, see what more it was to life, and just experience new things.
And so you did that for a couple of years, and now you decided to enter the transfer portal, and you had a bunch of suitors, but you ended up picking Ohio State. Before we get into the why when it comes to Ohio State, what was your decision? What was kind of the main reasons you decided to leave Arizona State? I know you had you guys had a good running back room. You had, I think, 428 yards rushing this year. Good solid average. You look like you had a bright future at the running back position for the Sun Devils. What was it that made you decide to leave that program and seek other opportunities?
Just want to play for championships at the end of the day. Just want to win and just play at a higher level.
Yeah, and obviously I'm sure that went into your decision a little bit to pick Ohio State. But I was going to ask, the next question I was going to ask, and that leads me right into it, is, you had opportunities. I know you could have went to Michigan and played running back there. I'm sure you had a few other schools that were trying to get you to come to their program. Why did you decide to commit to Ohio State?
Really just from comfortability wise, entering the transfer portal, you definitely want your next spot to be your last spot, and you want that spot to be somewhere where you're definitely comfortable at and you definitely have a relationship with the coaches and players on the team. So I felt like it was the best spot for me that wise too, but not only what Ohio State can do for me on the field, but off the field as well, with connections and stuff, and just help me set my life up for the best success I can have in the future.
For sure. And I know you spoke to Bill Green a little bit after you committed. He put up a nice story on our site, but why don't you explain to everyone listening, you, as I said, I'm looking at the stats right now. This past year, 78 rushes, 402 yards, 6 touchdowns, average 5.2 yards a carry. Last year, 49 carries, 290 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5.9 yards a carry. It looked like you were headed toward a very bright future at running back, but the plan at Ohio State, I believe, is to switch to the defensive side of the ball and play linebacker. What is going through your mind when it comes to your reasoning for switching to the defensive side of the ball?
Really just taking a step back, looking at the bigger picture, setting myself up for the best possible success in the future. Realizing that Ohio State has a need at linebacker right now, and just being willing to come in, step in, and hopefully make a dominant impact in that role and just help the team win.
Yeah, and they had a guy this year who did a similar move. Steel Chambers played running back the first 2 years he was at Ohio State, and now shifted over to linebacker this past year. Had a pretty nice season for someone who literally decided to make that move, 3 months before the season started. Did seeing the success he had doing that impact your decision at all? Was that something you and Coach Washington talked about a little bit?
No, not really. I didn't really watch Ohio State's defense this past season just because I had my season and everything going on. But no, I didn't really watch Steel a lot. I just made the decision because, coming out of high school, that's what a lot of people felt that I should with the defensive route. But I mean, defense is just natural for me. So it wasn't like a hard decision to make about switching back or not.
Yeah, and obviously outside of just not playing the position the last couple of years, what are some of the biggest challenges you anticipate for you having to overcome on this new journey of yours?
Challenge-wise, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't see any challenges with me on defense, just how I play on defense. When I'm just locked in on defense, it's like a flip switch. It's like I'm a whole different person. So really, I don't see no challenges for me except for myself. Just really stand on top of everything. Just hold myself to high standards and just meeting those goals on an everyday basis. I'll say that would be a challenge. Just meeting my goals on an everyday basis of what I want to be.
And you mentioned coming out of high school, a lot of people thought maybe linebacker defense was your best position. And, you said you don't feel like you have many challenges because you could kind of just flip that switch. What are the things that you feel that you do well or the skill set you have that are going to make you a good linebacker for Ohio State?
Just how I play, relentless, fierce, just reading and reacting, just always being around the ball. So that's what I look to bring.
Yeah, and Coach Washington is going to be your position coach, and obviously Coach Day, the head coach. I know they both were involved in your recruitment. Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with them and what they've said to you about how they plan to use you in the defense?
Well, we don't know. We don't know possibly yet. Just new defense coordinator with Coach Knowles. So we're just gonna come in, work, and just see what the best fit will be.
Yeah, and have you talked to Coach Knowles at all yet?
Yeah, I have.
And what has he said to you?
Nothing really. We just talked about schemes of the defense and just talked about the past productive years that he's had at Oklahoma State and just talked about the different schemes and some of his defensive principles. And that's about it, really just getting to know each other.
Got it. And from here on out, kind of what's your plan? Are you enrolling in January right after kind of school's back in session?
Yeah, I'll be enrolled. Like I'm already enrolled now, so I'll be starting classes January 10th.
You start classes January 10th, and so you'll be going through winter conditioning and spring ball with Ohio State. I guess what's kind of like the first things first for you? Is it just diving head first? I mean, I guess the good thing is everyone's kind of learning a new playbook at the same time, so you're not really at a disadvantage in that aspect. But do you feel you have to just now add significant weight now playing defense versus playing running back? Is it more important to kind of dive into the playbook and just understand the defense? What's kind of the priorities for you when you get there outside of obviously getting settled in and getting into classes and things like that?
I'll probably say one of the priorities is probably just learning the defensive playbook, learning the defensive schemes, and then just letting everything else on the field and everything take care of itself. But definitely first, getting inside Coach Knowles' playbook and just learning the ins and outs of the defense.
Yeah, and you'll probably have to get adjusted to snow again, something you definitely did not have to deal with down in Scottsdale. But, you talk about the guys on the team and, you're from Ohio, you recruited by Ohio State. Have you been in contact? Do you have relationships with anyone currently on the team? I don't know what your relationships are there, but who have you kind of remained friendly with that's on Ohio State's roster right now?
My boy Paris Johnson. We both came out of high school, the same class, and we both was here in Ohio. Darian Henry, some other names too. Guys like I'm familiar with guys like Jack Sawyer and everybody just because they was in the class below me. So all the really Ohio cats that go to Ohio State now, and then some of the guys like CJ and everybody else, just knowing them from the Nike Open and Finals. So I'm pretty familiar with a lot of the guys on the team.
Yeah, so that probably has to help your adjustment a little bit and had to make your decision a little bit easier. Looking at your career at Ohio State, you're going to have so 2020 was kind of a free year, and then this past year was technically your sophomore year, but it will count as basically your freshman year. So you'll have 3 years left, technically 4 years to play 3 at Ohio State. I don't anticipate you redshirting, but you'll basically have 3 years to play at Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
So with those 3 years, I guess, what are your goals, both individual and team for individual for yourself, and then your goals personally for the team while you're there, your 3 years at Ohio State?
I would say individually for me, just making the most out of every day, expanding my connections, and then just not only growing as a player but as a student also in the classroom. But goals for the team, I would say, is just winning a national championship every year. If I don't get if that's not the goal and you don't meet the goal, then it's looked at as a waste. So that's what I plan to do these next years.
And that's something Ohio State fans would love to see you accomplish at least one of the 3 years, if not multiple of those 3 years. And the last two questions I got for you, because we just like to let people get to know people, people we bring on the show outside of what they do on the football field. What are some things that you like to do when you're not playing football?
Man, there's some good food spots, play the game, golf a little bit. So just a little bit of everything, just depending on the day, depending on what mood I'm in.
Any food spots you missed while you were out in Arizona that you're happy to get while you're back home?
Yeah, Swenson's.
Swenson's?
Yeah, Swenson's. Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, cool. And last thing, and then we'll let you go. Message to Buckeye Nation, we'll give you the opportunity to say something to all the fans out there who are listening, who are excited about you coming home to Ohio State.
I'll say a message to Buckeye Nation would just be strap in, because 2022 is about to be definitely a year to remember, and I'll make sure of that.
Awesome. Well, DeaMonte, appreciate you coming on, everyone. Who's listening. Again, this is DeaMonte Trayanum. He's the new, I would say, linebacker for Ohio State, former running back at Arizona State. If you don't follow him on Twitter, make sure you do that. It's at Chippers, CHIPPERZ_. Make sure you go give him a follow. We appreciate you joining the show. We wish you the best of luck at the start of your career at Ohio State. And for everyone listening, we'll see you next week. This episode of Around the Oval was brought to you by Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage. If you've been thinking about refinancing or buying a house, check out our sponsor, Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage. They offer low rates for refinancing and home purchase loans, including first-time home buyer programs, down payment assistance, and cash-out home equity loans. Check out revolutionmortgage.com/tpennington.